Hey guys, it's Ltashap, and welcome to the final episode of Demo December, episode 5, as well as my last video of the year. Today we'll be checking out a demo that I found on itch.io that was made for a game jam, and it's called The Elevator Game with Catgirls. It's inspired by the Korean urban legend Elevator to Another World. Link in the description, of course. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Well, I'm already terrified. Let's get right into it. It's a cold winter night. Snow started to fall a couple of hours ago, so the cityscape is littered with a layer of white fluff. It clutches under our feet as we walk down the street. Ta-da, we're here! I look up to inspect the tall building before us. It's past midnight, so it's to be expected that most people living here should be asleep by now. Naturally, that also explains why barely any of the windows show illumination coming from the inside. Considering what we're here for, it only adds to the creepiness of the situation. I've never been a fan of dark places. That didn't change even when I got my feline features. You'd think that being able to see so much more clearly in the dark would make the darkness less scary, wouldn't you? Alright, so they've been turned into catgirls, apparently. They were not always catgirls. Trouble is, I hear so many more little sounds that I couldn't make out before, too. And since I'm not sure what all of them are, the dark's every bit as creepy as it was before. Maybe even more so. Alright, let me just preface by saying I am in love with this art style. I just love this art style. Okay. So, we are... Finally, a response. I thought you were starting to give me the silent treatment again. It's a fault of mine, and one I'm not too proud of. I tend to get lost in my own head sometimes. Well, quite often, really. Thankfully, Kirin is fairly used to it by now. I swear, Kirin, of all the buildings in the city, you just had to choose one that seems super creepy? This has to be the sole residential building in the whole office district. Oh, but you know it couldn't have just been any building. This one is perfect. And by perfect, you mean... meeting the conditions and being less than 10 miles away from our homes? Or are you enjoying our walk in the snow together so much that you'd like to prowl around aimlessly for another hour? Because I don't know about you, but I'm really starting to feel cold. Was that part of your plan? For me to need you to warm me up afterwards? You could have said something, Asahi. I just stare at her, not really sure what to say. There's no winning with Kirin when she gets all sly like this. As much as I hate to admit it, it's one of the things I actually like about her. Why did I sign up for this again? Because you love me. Ah yes, thank you for reminding me of that questionable fact. Say, do you get the feeling like someone is manipulating someone else for their advantage over here? No, just me? Aw, come on, don't be like that. You know I'm happy you decided to come with me. I'll make it up to you, I promise. I stared at her for a moment longer before I sighed. I really can't argue with her, not when she's looking at me like this. I had a silent crush on this girl for the longest time, and never expected to, one day, find out that the attraction was mutual. The fact that we managed to actually get together still feels so unreal sometimes. If it weren't for the fact that the change affected her too, it would have never come to this. As much as I disliked it in the beginning, it made me feel like an outcast among my former peers after all. Our shared experience allowed me to be there for her when she needed it most. It's a memory I'm always going to cherish. Of that I am sure. I breathed warmly on my hands, rubbed them together, and then jammed them deep into my pockets. It's not much, but hopefully it will It's not much, but hopefully it will help keep some feeling in my fingertips. It's enough to let me focus on things in the here and now, at least, rather than just on how cold it is. I said it before and I'll say it again. You get provoked way too easily. You're doing all of this because of the bet with Morgan, aren't you? Oh, sure, that's one of the reasons. But that's not the only one. I'm doing it because it's fun. Fun? Kirin, you've seen the forums. Not a single person out there ever said it was a good idea. Ah yes, all those fairy tale stories. Quite tragic, really. Come on, you're not about to tell me you honestly believe those. So you mean that you don't? Seriously, girl, we live in the real world. Spooky, scary skeletons don't just pop up out of nowhere because someone decided to be an idiot and press some buttons a certain way. I can't believe you, of all people, are still saying that strange, unexplained things don't happen. I mean, you did look in the mirror this morning, right? This is this, and that is that. So you don't believe this will actually work? Remind me why we're here again? We are here to prove a point, namely that Morgan can suck it. Sigh. I honestly can't believe I let you drag me into this. Chill, Asahi. We suffer the cold for a while longer, nothing happens, and then Morgan owes me $50. $50 that will treat us to a nice dinner together. I suppose a dinner with you is a pretty good incentive. They are so cute. See, I knew you'd come around. That being said, wish me luck and all that jazz. I'll be right back. Kirin? What? I'm the only one who should be getting cold feet here, not you. Just... You remember all the rules, right? Stay safe, okay? Asa-chan, be realistic about this. What's an elevator gonna do? Bite me? You could always get stuck. That's a realistic possibility, if anything. I'm sure you'll figure it out if I do. Now be sure to stay away from the building, since we'd be breaking those majestic rules otherwise. Right. See you in a bit. I stare as Kirin approaches the building's entrance, presses one of the intercom buttons, and moments later pushes the door open. How does she convince people to trust her so quickly, to let her into the building like that? She's gone from my sight before I know it. A faint click as the door closes behind her. There's a feeling of unease pooling in my stomach. All of this being a bad idea. Probably the worst we've had yet. Just screams in my head. I'm going to give Morgan a piece of my own mind once all this is over. It's not like I can really do much about it now, however. If I were to go after my girlfriend, saying I'd suddenly changed my mind, it would undoubtedly make her angry. Hell, we snuck out of our houses through the window without our parents knowing just to go through with all of this. If I had a problem with this whole crazy idea, I should have said something way earlier. It's too late now. I wrap my fingers around my phone and pull it from my pocket. As I do so, I see the screen show 0013 AM. So that's 1 AM. It took us around an hour to walk here, and while I dreaded us even being here in the first place, I'm also not looking forward to walking all the way back, especially when it's bound to get colder as the night goes on. Perhaps we could use those $50 to get a ride home instead of a meal? Yeah, if only things worked out that way. With another sigh, I turn away and start to walk towards a small park located in the middle of this godforsaken district. I don't know why part of it is a playground. There can't be many kids here in the day, can there? But it is, and there's a slide as well as a pair of swings. I'll most likely freeze my ass off if I sit on one, though that would let me lift my feet off the ground for a bit, the cold, snowy ground. I decide to sit down on the nearest one. And just like that, the uneasy feeling of having entered a liminal space hits me, making the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. One's mind usually associates playgrounds with children, laughter, movement, and life in general. That's what they're designed for, after all. So when you get to experience the total opposite of that, when you find yourself sitting in an empty, childless playground in the middle of the night, it doesn't feel right. Your mind associates it with something being off, something being wrong. Why are you here, Asahi? In a place you shouldn't be. Oh, it's getting spooky. I don't think our girl's gonna do so hot. In the elevator. Absent-mindedly, my gaze wanders. Something at the other side of the street catches my attention. It's a vending machine. I happen to have a bit of change with me, and the idea of getting something hot to drink is suddenly a very alluring temptation. It would undoubtedly make the waiting out in this cold less unpleasant. Please say it's a machine that has hot drinks as well as cold ones. With my mind made up, I get back on my feet, checking the time more out of habit than actual curiosity again. 0014 AM. Only a minute's passed since Kirin disappeared into the building. I am both surprised and not really. The feeling of time passing slower than usual is normal when you obsessively wait for something, even more so when said waiting is physically uncomfortable. I make my way towards the vending machine without a second thought. To my relief, its glowing buttons do indeed hold the promise of a hot drink. Coffee or cocoa? Does this choice matter? Let's save anyway. Let's get cocoa. I decide to get. I'm usually more of a coffee person. Oops. But I'm in the mood for something sweet. My mind will most likely appreciate the sugar rush right now, too. I just thought since it's the middle of the night, we shouldn't get coffee. It definitely doesn't have anything to do with the fact that this is Kirin's favorite drink. Oh. They're too precious. Oh my goodness. Fua fua. Choco choco. Yes, it's about time I acknowledge the fact that I've started to consume more sweet stuff because of her. Even though she says I'm sweet enough as I am. It's only when there's a chunk of coins in the change slot that I realize the cocoa is a bit cheaper than the coffee, meaning that I'll be able to get a can for Kirin when she comes out too. That's a nice surprise. As I work on opening the bottle, I realize how warm and heavenly it feels in my hands. I wrap my hands around it, enjoying a few moments of bliss as the heat warms my fingers. I take a small sip, instantly happy with the taste. Being able to drink anything warm feels like a godsend right now. Satisfied, at least momentarily, I make my way back to the playground, intending to sit back at the spot I took up before. I reach the swing and settle back down. As I glance up again at the building Kirin slipped into minutes ago, my blood suddenly runs cold. A sense of sudden panic swarms my mind as I try to make sense of what I'm seeing. A building that's dead to the world, all pitch black, with none of its lights shining through the windows anymore. Could all the residents have gone to sleep in the meantime? That's close to impossible, and I know it. A power outage, maybe? I quickly turn around and look at the other buildings around me. All of those seem the same as when we arrived, with the bright window still present here and there. So surely that can't be it. If the power was cut off, it would affect the whole street, wouldn't it? Or even several streets. Almost spilling my drink, I hastily reach for the phone in my pocket. Huh? Oh, it went back in time. Oh my gosh, stop. I blink, then close my eyes shut for a moment, certain that something's wrong with my eyesight. The time couldn't have just gone backwards. A small sense of relief floods me as I quickly open my eyes again. It must have been a trick of the light before. Or perhaps there was a glitch with my phone's display? Perhaps there is something wrong with me. Remembering what made me reach for my phone in the first place, I raise my head to look at the building before me once more, only to see it in its previous state. The lights are back on as if they were never gone to begin with. The unease in my stomach stays, though. I know what I saw. I'm pretty sure I couldn't have just imagined it. It's been 5 minutes since Kirin went into the building. I have a very bad feeling. Is that enough to ride through a bunch of floors? Would she be mad if I called her so soon? Dwelling on it suddenly feels stupid. Yes, let's call. I open the calls app on my phone, and there's her name at the top of the history. She'd called me just a couple of hours ago to confirm our plans for tonight. Admittingly, her name is also there for the call before that and the one before, and... Okay, I chat to her a lot. So one more call now can't hurt, right? I hit the redial button. I should have expected the call wouldn't connect if she's still inside the elevator. There probably isn't any reception in there, is there? So what options does that leave me with? Going in after her? Waiting another 5 minutes? I stare at the building before me intently. I stare at the building before me intently, afraid to avert my eyes anymore. It's like I'm hopeful my gaze, my constant observation alone will make the lights stay. I'm scared of the situation repeating itself. Sometime later, I realize that I've spent so long just holding my can and fretting about Kirin that my drink has gone from a nice hot drink to, well, undrinkable. Some drinks are not meant to be just kind of warm, and this is one of them. At least it kept my hands from freezing, I guess. 10 minutes pass. I feel only more cold and helpless. Why can't Kirin just come out of the building now, as if nothing has happened, and laugh at me for worrying too much? I call her again for good measure. Surprisingly, the call does go through this time. Hello? Oh my gosh. I'm not prepared for what I hear. A woman laughing at the other end. There's something about that disturbs me to the very core. It's definitely not Kirin's voice. Or is it? All of a sudden, realization hits me. Morgan, the bet, everything, now this. None of it could possibly be real. All of this has to be a prank arranged by my classmates. And whether Kirin's in on it. She wouldn't do this to me, would she? The image of her wickedly smiling, amused face persistently pops in my mind again. Confusion turns into anger. Before I know it, I'm on my feet, already marching into the building, determination boiling inside of me. There's an obstacle before I can get in, though, as I obviously don't have a key to the entrance door. What kind of excuse would be plausible at this sort of hour? I stab at the button that I think Kirin pressed, and then almost immediately regret it. What if I pressed the wrong button? What if I pressed the right one and sound stupid when the other person asks who's there? What if... To my surprise, there's a click from the intercom, and then a buzz as I'm let in without a single word being spoken. Huh, so Kirin didn't have to sweet-talk anyone. I try not to dwell on the unexpected invitation as I shrug it all off on luck. Oh. As soon as the doors close behind me, it occurs to me just how dark inside of the building it is. I don't like this. I know it's the middle of the night, but I'm not sure whether such a complete lack of light is normal. It is definitely not. People live here, after all. There should be some signs of life. Buildings usually have at least a few lights on inside, don't they? It's unsettling, although it doesn't make me as nervous as it used to. I know that my vision is going to adjust to the darkness in a moment, letting me navigate the place easily. I'm able to see a lot better in the dark compared to when I was still completely human, but it doesn't work instantly. Oh my gosh, our cat abilities. As I take a few first hesitant steps into the building, the lights flicker on with a harsh buzz. Of course, I'm being such an idiot. There are automatic lights in here. They come on when people move, totally ordinary. It's just that I've never seen It's just that I've never been in this building before. It stands to reason that it feels unusually creepy to me, right? Especially if I think about why I'm currently here. All that considered, it feels longer for me to reach the end of the long hallway than it probably should. It's a dangerous time to let your mind wander into places nobody sane would want it wandering to. At least the building inside is noticeably warmer than the outdoors. It makes the whole situation slightly easier to bear. My hands and feet almost started to freeze off in the meantime. The next thing I know, I stand before the elevator door, rooted to the ground. Oh my gosh, with the sudden sensation of someone watching me. Ah! Oh my gosh, stop. No, oh my gosh, guys. Abruptly, I turn around, more panic exploding inside of me as the automatic light picks the exact moment to cut out. Oh! My first instinct is to get out my phone, let it illuminate the sudden darkness of the corridor, and God knows what else is inhabiting it currently. There's nothing. Nothing that I am able to see anyway. It's just the empty corridor, a row of closed doors along each side, seemingly the same as when I first entered. There's no one there. I don't feel any less on edge when I turn back to the other direction, bearing my back to all of the space again, pressing the elevator button as quickly as I can find it. A distant sound of machinery starting up pierces the unnerving silence, followed by a hum which indicates that the elevator is in motion. It's clearly on a different floor, so I wait for it to descend. Taking a deep breath, I try to calm myself. It feels like an eternity for the thing to arrive. The doors finally slide apart with a slight scraping sound, and the small compartment finally opens up before me, completely empty. I'm not sure whether I should be surprised or not. Part of me hoped it wouldn't have to come to this, while another already expected for things to turn out this way. At this point, I decide to do the only sensible thing I can think of doing. Get into the elevator, ascend to the highest floor, then make my way down the stairs. All in the hope of stumbling upon Kirin, possibly hiding from me on one of the floors. If only things turned out that easy. Oh my gosh, no. That was really, really good. Wow. And this will be released fully in 2021. That was really well done. I loved the atmosphere, and I am in love with the art style as well. That was really, really good. Okay, I think we should go back and choose the other two choices. So I'll be right back. Okay, let's see what happens when we pick coffee. I decide to get... Nothing sounds better than a hot can of coffee right now. Not only will it help me survive the cold, it's also bound to give me an energy boost. One that I could use for both the waiting and the upcoming inevitable journey all the way back home. Kuro Kohi. It costs a little more than I expected, and I won't have enough to get a second can, so there goes the idea of treating Kirin to a nice warming drink for the walk home. Wow, we definitely picked the right option before. Oh well, she'll survive. And it is her fault that we'll be walking back through the snow. The can feels warm and heavenly in my hands. Okay, so this is the same, I think. Oh wait, this was different. Let me continue reading. I wrap my hands around it, enjoying a few moments of bliss as the heat warms my fingers. Carefully I prise the edge of the pull tab up with a nail so I can get my finger underneath. Then I pull it open with a sharp hiss. I'm always really careful with how I open cans, after carelessly breaking a nail once. The memory of that still makes me shudder. I shiver, trying to fight down the sudden memory of Kirin tortuously dragging her nails against the blackboard in my class, a wicked smile painting her lips as she held my gaze. I wish I could somehow control these unwanted thoughts sometimes. Alas, my brain likes to torture me instead. The smell of the beverage reaches my nose, grounding me back in reality. I take a small sip, instantly happy with the taste. Being able to drink anything warm feels like a godsend right now. Okay, so now this is the same. So let me get to the phone call, and we'll see what happens when we don't say anything. I was not prepared for what I hear. Okay, so this is the same. So let's see what happens when I go to the elevator. And then when we feel like someone's watching us, let's just press the button really fast. The next thing I know, I stand before the elevator door, rooted to the ground, with a sudden sensation of someone watching me. Press the elevator! Hesitantly, I reach to press the elevator button, more panic exploding inside me as the automated light picks the exact moment to cut out. My first instinct is to get out my phone, let it illuminate the sudden darkness of the corridor, and God knows what else is inhabiting it currently. There's nothing. Nothing that I'm able to see anyway. It's just the empty corridor, a row of closed doors along each side, seemingly the same as when I first entered. There's no one there. I don't feel any less on edge. Okay. So that's all the same. That's really, really interesting. I am so curious to see what happens. Wow, that was really, really good. That was actually very terrifying, which is kind of surprising for a visual novel. I think that's really hard to pull off, so definitely kudos for this one. And that pretty much sums up Demo December. So, thank you everyone for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, then be sure to subscribe to my channel, and see you next time!